Enjoy the ride, pal.
Nozzle check of the SRBs. Firing chain is armed. Sound suppression water system armed. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Mars has been a center of attention for cosmologists, scientists and astronomers since 1960s. When the first probe named Mariner 4 successfully landed on Mars on July 14, 1965, first images of Mars' red soil were sent to Earth. After the Mariner 4, many more probes were sent to Mars by different space organizations. The last one sent by NASA is called InSight, and it was launched to Mars on May 5, 2018, and it is expected to land on Mars on November 28, 2018. These probes have sent lots of images and videos from Mars. They helped astrobiologists to be convinced that there is a life on Mars and humans can someday travel to it and start colonizing the planet. The scientific studies of Mars show that Mars covered by water millions of years ago, and 19% of its surface was coated by an ancient ocean. And recently, Italian scientists have discovered salty water 1.5 kilometers under the Mars surface. Water is the most important foundation of life on Earth. Therefore, the availability of water in a planet is a vital factor for humans to survive. Based on that, Mars is selected by scientists the first planet to be colonized by humans. To start living on Mars, some other materials are also needed. However, sending materials to Mars from Earth requires lots of money, energy and time. But there is a viable approach to build materials on Mars' surface. There is a material called regolith on Mars, and there is abundance of that in Mars' surface. By using of the 3D printers, materials that made from regolith can be printed on Mars. With the 3D printed regolith, shelters and houses can be built, and according to NASA, the 3D printing robots will be sent earlier than humans to start constructing the buildings and shelters. This is the most feasible way to make civilization on Mars, due to the fact that there is abundance of regolith on Mars. And moreover, 3D printing method is faster and cheaper compared with transporting materials from Earth to Mars. Handful of space organizations are going to make Mars colonization a reality in the near future. SpaceX and NASA are the forefronts of this mission. These two organizations have different deadlines for the human mission to Mars. SpaceX has a plan to send people to Mars by the year 2024, and it seems that out of all other space companies, SpaceX is the most enthusiastic organization to start a colony on Mars. SpaceX's first mission is to send vital instruments to corroborate the availability of water resources and to find out the level of dangerous elements in the Mars atmosphere. Moreover, the initial infrastructure will be embedded on Mars for human mission. This is planned for 2022. By the year 2024, SpaceX has its second mission, and this time a couple of trained crew with cargo will be proceeded to Mars. These people, with use of the stuff that they bring to Mars, will make a propellant depot for forthcoming flights. Moreover, the spaceships from the initial missions that would bring astronauts to Mars will be used as the primary Mars base. Later, this base will serve to make a prosperous city, and finally human civilization will be built on Mars. Elon Musk The CEO of SpaceX stated that in the next 40 years, approximately 1 million people will be dispatched to Mars by SpaceX. NASA's plan to send humans to Mars, according to them, would be attainable by 2033. And before that year, 3 missions will be in place to prepare astronauts for the Mars expedition. However, there are some skeptics and critics to the Mars colonization plan. One of the most prominent skeptics is Mr. Chris Hadfield, the retired Canadian astronaut. He believes that current propulsion engines are not made to carry humans to Mars. Because of the distance between Earth and Mars and the time it takes, with current space technology, it is very likely that most of the people on board will be killed due to harsh space conditions even before they reach Mars. He believes that the space travel has not yet matured and there is many unknowns in space, which have to be identified before we try to send humans to Mars. He suggests that it is better to send robots to Mars so they can evaluate the conditions of the space on Mars, and afterwards scientists should make engines and spaceships that can tackle the problems and issues that would occur during the trip to Mars and to the planet. And on the planet. He believes that our technologies are primitive and it is better that we work to improve and upgrade the techniques and then make a plan to send humans to Mars. Regardless of when humans will step foot in Mars, the preliminary actions are taken. The competition is made between organizations to colonize Mars, and traveling to Mars is the focal point for the cosmologists and scientists. Humans have proven in many areas that they are capable of doing great things. We can make impossible possible, and one day we can travel to Mars and live there, and continue our space adventure further in our galaxy.